8-year-old Liam had settled into a comforting rhythm with his father Daniel since his mother's passing 2 years earlier. Their routines, Saturday morning pancakes, evening movie nights, made him feel safe. But when Daniel introduced Liam to Charlotte, everything changed. Daniel seemed happier than ever, saying, "She's really special, you're going to like her." Charlotte was friendly and warm, but something about her felt off. In the weeks that followed, Liam noticed that when Daniel was around, Charlotte was charming and attentive. But when they were alone, her smile faded, and her gaze grew cold. Sometimes, she even seemed to ignore him, or made small, dismissive remarks that left him feeling out of place. One evening, Daniel announced that he and Charlotte were getting married. Liam forced a smile, his heart sinking. He wanted his dad to be happy, but Charlotte's presence cast a shadow over him. As he lay in bed that night, he couldn't shake a feeling of unease. He wished he could ignore it, but deep down, he knew that something wasn't right. As weeks passed, Charlotte's attitude toward Liam grew colder. When Daniel was home, she was all smiles and friendliness, but alone, she was different. She'd brush off his attempts at conversation and criticize him subtly, making Liam feel small. One Saturday, while Daniel was out, Liam overheard Charlotte on the phone saying, "Playing mom to someone else's kid isn't easy, but it's part of the package." Her words stung. He was just a burden to her. That evening, Liam tried to ignore the growing dread, but felt increasingly isolated. His father seemed blind to these changes, lost in his happiness with Charlotte. Liam retreated further into himself, wondering if he was the only one who saw her true colors. The longer he stayed silent, the more trapped he felt. In his heart, he knew he couldn't ignore the unease much longer. One evening, while Daniel was out, Liam overheard Charlotte talking urgently on the phone to someone named Mark. She mentioned a life insurance policy and a grieving widow payout. Liam's stomach churned. Was she planning something terrible? Later, he found her laptop open and discovered an insurance policy worth millions and photos of Charlotte with Mark. The phrases accidental death and double indemnity haunted him, confirming his worst fears. His father was in danger, and no one would believe him. That night, Liam lay awake, gripped by fear. He realized he'd have to act alone to protect his dad. With the wedding approaching, Liam knew this might be his only chance to stop it. His heart heavy, he resolved to confront Charlotte and save his father, whatever the cost. As the wedding neared, Liam tried one last time to warn his father. "Dad, something's wrong with Charlotte," he said, explaining her behavior and the things he'd overheard. But Daniel, too excited and happy, brushed it off as jealousy. Liam's heart sank, feeling more alone than ever. He couldn't let his father walk into this trap, so he decided to act. On the wedding day, as guests gathered and the officiant asked if anyone had objections, Liam spoke up. "Stop, Dad, she's lying to you." His voice echoed through the chapel, filled with a mixture of fear and determination. All eyes turned to him, and he looked at his father, pleading. This was his last chance to protect him from Charlotte's plans, even if no one else believed him. Liam faced the stunned crowd and told his father everything: the overheard conversations, the insurance policy, and the photos of Charlotte with Mark. Charlotte tried to dismiss him, saying he was just a jealous child. But as Liam recounted every detail, her facade cracked. Daniel looked between them, finally asking, "Is any of this true?" Cornered, Charlotte's mask fell, and she lashed out, calling Liam a brat and storming out of the chapel. Daniel, devastated yet relieved, knelt beside Liam, apologizing for not listening sooner. They shared a quiet moment, holding on to each other as the reality set in. Though the wedding had turned into chaos, Liam knew his father finally believed him. Together, they watched as Charlotte's shadow disappeared from their lives, leaving them safe but shaken. As Charlotte fled, police arrived, and Daniel explained everything. Suddenly, Mark appeared, trying to enter the chapel but was intercepted by officers. He was arrested, and during questioning he confessed, exposing a history of cons he'd pulled with Charlotte, or rather Sarah Connors. Daniel and Liam gave their statements to the police, piecing together the betrayal. Though shaken, Daniel felt a profound gratitude for Liam's bravery. As father and son walked home, they knew healing would take time, but they had each other. They'd escaped a dangerous trap together, and now they faced a future free from Charlotte's deception. The ordeal was over, and while they had scars, they were safe, and their bond was stronger than ever. In the following weeks, the investigation unraveled Charlotte's criminal past. Mark, now cooperating with police, detailed their history of manipulating wealthy men, leaving them financially and emotionally shattered. Each revelation hurt, but Daniel felt proud of Liam's courage. Their relationship deepened as they supported each other, sharing thoughts and feelings they hadn't before. The end of the investigation allowed them to return to a life free of secrets. They filled their days with laughter, new memories, and a comforting peace that came from their unbreakable bond. Liam, no longer burdened by suspicion, thrived in school, and Daniel found strength in their resilience. They'd come through a storm and were finally ready to embrace the life they'd fought to protect. With the ordeal behind them, Daniel and Liam embraced a new chapter in life, cherishing simple moments together. Daniel apologized for not listening sooner, and Liam forgave him, saying, "You were just trying to be happy." The apology brought them closer, and their days became filled with laughter and shared activities. They took up cooking and hiking, and Liam even discovered a love for detective novels, joking he'd become a detective someday. Through every shared meal, every quiet conversation, they rebuilt their lives. Liam was no longer burdened, thriving in school and friendships. And for Daniel, every day was a reminder to cherish his son above all. The darkness was behind them, and they embraced the future with open hearts, stronger than ever. One autumn day, Officer Grant delivered unexpected news. Charlotte, Sarah Connors, had been found dead in a Las Vegas motel, leaving a note expressing regret. The news stirred complex emotions in Daniel and Liam. Processing it together, they found closure, though questions lingered. They attended counseling, talking openly about their feelings and fears. Liam's confidence grew as he embraced his love for mysteries and school life, while Daniel found peace in their strengthened bond. The haunting shadow of Sarah began to fade, replaced by gratitude for their survival. They felt lighter, as though a weight had lifted, and they looked to the future, knowing they'd overcome the darkest chapter of their lives, side by side. 1 year after the interrupted wedding, Daniel and Liam created a new tradition. They spent the anniversary at Silverwood State Park, reflecting on how far they'd come. As they picnicked by the lake, Daniel told Liam how proud he was that nothing mattered more than their bond. Liam smiled, hugging his father tightly. They returned home feeling at peace, ready to face life's challenges with resilience. Each day they built a life filled with love, laughter, and a sense of shared purpose. They'd endured betrayal and fear, but emerged unbreakable. A father and son united by a love that saved them. Whatever came next, they knew they could face it together, their bond unshakable.